Yeah, Nario, it's like, yeah, just teach me English, teach me English, teach me English, teach me English, teach me English. Ah, you know, yeah, it's just, I don't understand. I don't understand how to use the word obnoxious or obnoxiously. Obnoxious is the adjective form, and obnoxiously is the adverb form. So he's being obnoxious. Don't be obnoxious. To be obnoxious, right? So in that case, it's a verb, actually, but it's describing something. So when I say he's obnoxious, that's an adjective. But when I say don't be obnoxious, to be makes it a verb, right? But obnoxiously would be the adverb form of it. So if I said he answered obnoxiously, then how did he answer? Any word that ends with ly words are usually adverbs, and that means they answer the question, how did they do something? They did it obnoxiously. Yeah. Without even a please, I know, right? I know. Without even a please. No introduction. That drives me crazy too. That drives me crazy too. That's right. Yeah, honestly, like, I wish I could create rules for my room that would eliminate anybody who's not serious. Like, just, I wish I could, because honestly, I don't have the time. I'm so tired of it. And it really, remember, Nario, the other day when I was talking about people taking sand from the beach? That's what just happened. That's exactly what just happened. He came in and he wanted his questions, he took his sand and he left. That's it. Yeah. Anyway. All right, let's go back to some fun facts. And then, you know what? You guys can do me a favor. If somebody joins any of my streams ever, anytime, and they want to know what's going on, you can tell them what's going on. That would help me a lot. Or if they ask a question that's not about the topic, you could tell them, he's teaching about this today, or he's talking about this right now, so that they understand that they should follow what we're doing. You know? That would help me a lot. Okay, let's go to the next factoid. I like that word, factoid. Here's another factoid. Let's see. How old do you guys think the oldest dog in the history of man has lived? How old was the oldest dog? Riza says 25. Anyone else would like to venture a guess? Annoying. Nario says, I'll double it and say 50. Wow, that's a bit much. Catherine says 30. Catherine, you're the closest. It's 29.5 years. 29 and a half years was the oldest dog in the world. It was an Australian cattle dog named Bluey. 29.5 years. That's pretty crazy. How about the oldest cat? Hello, Mona. Hello, Sammy. What would you like to talk about? I'm doing fine. How are you? The oldest cat, anyone? I know, the oldest dog I had was 16 and a half, I think. 16 or so. And that felt like a long time. The oldest cat. Are you going to... This is crazy. 38 years. 38 years. The oldest cat. Yeah, that's crazy. That's older than some people. You know, there are many people who die before that age. But yeah, 38 years. Anyway, yeah. And his name was Cream Puff. Okay, let's see. How about another one? Let me find another good one. Oh, so here's a funny thing. Do you guys know about horsepower? The word horsepower? What is horsepower? Have you ever heard of horsepower? When we talk about cars or engines or boats or anything with an engine, yeah, we talk about horsepower. And it's a funny thing because before engines, what did we use? We used horses, right? So horsepower was a word they created to try to imagine how many horses would it take to create the same power as this engine, right? Yeah, originally it was for steam engines, right? But the funny thing about horsepower is if I say this engine is 24 horsepower, how many horses would that require to equal that same amount? Would it be 24? Yes, we eat horse meat, we have horsepower. That's funny. So it's funny because one horse is actually has the potential of 18,000 watts of power, which is about 24 horsepower. So it's funny because one horse actually produces about 24 horsepower. So when they created the word horsepower, they didn't have an accurate way to measure these things. They just guessed. They were using it like a that was close enough for them. This is the equivalent of one horse, right? This engine can pull this cart just like this horse can pull this cart. Yeah, but it's funny because 24 horsepower. Yeah. That's funny. One horse produces 24 horsepower. Yeah, of course, it's not, these are not perfect measurements when you talk about something that's measuring the strength of a horse. That's something that is not completely measurable because you never know if a horse is trying its hardest or not, right? You might think it is, but it might not be. Anyway, let's see. How many people like bananas? Do you guys like bananas? Hello, Julian. Those are some horse calculations. Yes, indeed. That they are. Who likes bananas? You don't like bananas. Okay, well, guess what, Risa? That's all right if you don't like bananas because bananas are actually radioactive. Did you guys know that bananas are radioactive? Bananas have a high amount of potassium in them. They have a lot of potassium. Risa, radioactive is like, what was the... one moment. Fukushima. Like Fukushima. The Fukushima plant, and they had radioactive water, right? The radioactive... everything was contaminated with radioactivity. right? So, bananas are high in potassium. Potassium 40 is a specific isotope of, it's a natural isotope called potassium 40, and potassium 40 is actually radioactive. It's only, like a little bit radioactive. And you would only be, if you eat it, it will only affect you for a few hours. But still, it's kind of funny. If you eat too many bananas, then you might be radioactive. Yeah. Anyway. That's right. They contain potassium 40. That's right. There we go. Look at Catherine. Catherine's my teaching assistant today. I appreciate that, Catherine. Maybe you can become a Ninja Turtle by eating a lot. Maybe. Maybe. You can't understand. Wait, let me see if I can help you. Hold on. Let's see. How do I say this? I'm gonna ruin the pronunciation, but it's banana wa hosha so gararu. Banana wa hosha so gararu. Does that help? Look at Catherine. Catherine, wow, you're all over the place. You could even help me with the Japanese. Yeah, there we go. So, it has potassium 40. It's just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. Very, very, very small amount. Yeah. Ah, and Juliet helped. That was good with the radiation emoji. I didn't think about that. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's see. Let's do another one. Okay, how many people, do you know someone who talks in their sleep? Catherine says, yes, I know someone who talks in their sleep. Anyone else know anybody who can talk in their sleep? Riza says, my children talk in their sleep. Okay. So, Riza, let me ask you a question. If your children, or if you had one child who was deaf, they're deaf, they can't hear, right? So they use sign language to speak, right? Do they talk in their sleep? Can deaf people talk in their sleep? They can, and they do. Yeah. So it's funny, but there was some study they did about a 71-year-old man, and he used fluent sign language when he was sleeping. He's asleep and he's doing sign language. It's so crazy. That's funny to me. Like, talking in your sleep is funny enough. But talking in your sleep using your hands? That's weird. That's crazy. Yes, but Catherine, what I mean is not just talking, but talking with your hands using sign language. That would be funny. Yeah, right? And if somebody was sleeping with a person like that, would you wake up because they're talking, moving their hands? You know? That's funny, right? Yeah. Anyway. Ah, you've seen that because you're a medical student. Ah, well, there we go. Yeah. So, Yeah. And it's funny because the researchers, they were able to know what he was dreaming about because they were able to understand his sign language. So they could read his sign language as he was sleeping, and then now they knew what he was talking about in his dream. That's kind of cool. You know? Okay. Oh, here's another good one. I like this one. Let me see. How do I ask this question? Can you think of one animal that spends most of its time in the water but cannot swim? Can you think of one animal that spends almost all of its time in the water but it cannot swim? Anyone? What animal spends all of its time or most of its time in the water but cannot swim? Jimmy says, can crocodiles swim? Yes, they can. Coral. That's an interesting guess. I think you would say coral can swim because they're organisms that live in the water. Naria says sunfish, alligators, crabs. No. All of those are swimming creatures. Well, crabs, I guess you could make the argument that maybe crabs. Maybe. But there's another one. Hippos. Hippos. Yeah, hippos cannot swim. But here's what's so funny about it. The word hippopotamus, do you know what that word really means? Catherine, you might know this. Since you're a medical student, you know etymology. Maybe you know what hippopotamus means etymologically? Hippo means horse. Potamus means river. River horse. That's what hippopotamus means. Why do they call it a river horse? Because when a hippo goes in the water, it walks on the bottom. It doesn't swim. It's walking like a horse on the bottom of the river. That's why it's called a hippopotamus, river horse. It's the Greek word. But yeah, they spend most of their time in the water, but they walk on the bottom. They don't swim. Yeah. They have really big bones, and their bones are really big and dense and very, very heavy. They're not buoyant. They don't float. So instead, they run. They walk on the bottom. Yeah. Can you say your car has 300 hippopotamus power? Maybe. That seems pretty strong, though. Hippos are pretty strong creatures. Yeah. Aquaphobia is a fear of water. Aquaphobia. Yeah. Okay, so hippos can't swim. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Do you guys know why do we call the North Pole and the South Pole Arctic and Antarctic? Why do we call the North Pole Arctic and the South Pole Antarctic? That's right. To know the answer, we must learn their etymology. That's exactly right, Nario. So, when you're in the Arctic, you can see the constellation Arctos. Arctos is the constellation of the bear. Ursa Major is another name for it. So when you're in the Arctic, you can see that constellation. But when you're in the Antarctic, you cannot see that constellation. So it's all about whether you could see that constellation or not. Yeah. So that's kind of funny. It's all about the bear. The bear. Let's see. Can you think of one animal that doesn't have a body? Can you think of an animal that doesn't have a body? And I don't mean bacteria. It's not microscopic. What animal doesn't have a body? There are actually a few of them. Paramecium are still small. The snakes have a body. Lizards have a body. Catherine, you're getting closer. Yeah, it's things like echinoderms, they're called, like sea urchins and sand dollars and starfish. Starfish, it's considered their head. That's like the entire thing is a head. So sea urchins, the whole thing is a head. Sand dollars, the whole thing is a head. Starfish, the whole thing is a head. Yeah. So that's kind of funny. When you pick them up, I don't know. It's just funny to think about. They don't have a body. You know? The head of a dead fish. That's funny, Den. Give you more hints? Okay, I'll try to give more hints for the other things. Let's see here. Oh, I know. Let's see. So what do you call a group of fish? What do you call a group of fish? Sea animals. Yes, that's correct. They are sea animals. School. Yeah, we call them a school. Schools of fish. So if you see a lot of fish swimming together, we call that a school of fish, right? But when I heard that when I was a boy, I thought it was because, oh, well, like, yeah, it's like they're a group going to school. They all learn together. They all study together. But actually, it's related to the Dutch word, schole, which the word schole in Dutch, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but it means a group or a crowd or a troop. Yeah, it's funny. I thought that it actually was from the German word Schule, but maybe that's the same. I wonder if the German, maybe, is there any? Do we have any Germans in the room today? Are there any Germans here? There was earlier. There's Sonia. Sonia's German. Sonia, do you know if the word, when we say a school of fish, that word school, what is the original meaning of Schule in German? Does Schule mean group, like a group of people? Originally, I bet it does. I bet it does. Shoal is another one that's related. Yeah, a shoal of fish is another word. It's rarely used anymore. But yes, that's another one. It's like the movie from Nemo. That's right, yeah. A bank of fishes? Oh, that's interesting. You call them a bank. Okay, interesting. All right, in Spanish. Let's see. How much of your body, what percent? Let's see. Sonia says shula means a house where we all can learn. Oh, okay. So, Sonia, can you do me a favor? Can you try to find out if the original meaning, before it meant a house to learn in, did it just mean a group? Because German and Dutch are related too, right? So there are many words in German and Dutch that are similar. And the original meaning of schola in Dutch is actually a group. A group. So I'm curious if that means the same thing in originally. Not now, but I mean etymologically, the original meaning, the first meaning of Schule, I wonder if that was the same as the Dutch. So, the question was, how much of your body is made of bacteria? What percent of your body is made of bacteria? Risa says, I hope 0. Catherine says 1 to 3%. Nario says, I once heard more than 90%. Mona says 30%. Okay, so, Nario, your guess is what they used to believe. There was a time when they used to believe that the estimates were about 90% of your body was bacteria. But in 2016, they did a study that said that about 56% of your body is bacteria. So go take a shower. You're dirty. You stink. 56%. But bacteria are so light. They're so light that by weight, each person is still 99% human. So bacteria is all over you. But yeah. Mona says that's good bacteria. Some of it is good bacteria, not all of it. Yeah. In what terms? I'll do this for you. Hold on. I'll give you the link to the study. Here you go. Since you're a medical student, you can read about the study right there. From Science Focus. Okay, let's find another good tip, or good factoid. Not tip, factoid. Here's a good question. So, is anyone here allergic to dogs or cats? Is anyone here allergic to dogs or cats? Do you know someone who's... Oh, Catherine says I'm allergic to cat fur. Anyone else know? So here's a funny thing. I know many people who are allergic to dogs or allergic to cats, but actually, dogs and cats can be allergic to people also. It's funny when we think about allergies, we always think about it from an anthropomorphic standpoint, from a human standpoint, right? We always think about allergies are only for humans. But no, animals have allergies too. And animals could be allergic to dust, they could be allergic to mold, or they could be allergic to you. How to tell? Well, that's a good question. I would imagine you'd probably need to get your animal tested, but they're allergic to the dead skin of humans. Just like some people are allergic to dogs or cats, they're allergic to the skin cells. It's called dander. It's called dander. But it's just interesting to think, maybe your turtle is allergic to you. Maybe your cat is allergic to you. You're not a fan of cats, Catherine? Catherine, have you ever been to Istanbul? Or seen pictures of Istanbul? Do a search online. It's the city of cats. They have Istanbul's a really, really old city, and I don't know, hundreds of thousands, maybe a couple thousand years ago or something. I can't remember what year it was, but they used to have rats, lots of rats in the city. They probably still do, every city does, but in Istanbul, they decided to bring in cats to deal with the rats, right? And so if you go to Istanbul, there are cats everywhere. They're all over, and everyone treats them with respect because of the history. There's like a cultural history that the cats are they're so helpful, right? Yes, renowned for their cats. So that's one city that you'd maybe not like to go to. Oh, you have a cat, but you just don't like her. That's funny. So anyway, if you like cats, then go to Istanbul. Your dog coughs a lot when you touch him. I don't think I've ever heard a dog cough. That's funny. I want to hear a dog cough. All right. Let's see. How many people here don't like the sound of their own voice? How many people don't like the sound of their own voice? Giuseppe, hello, Giuseppe. Yeah, most people. Most people don't like the sound of your own voice. But why? How is it possible that your voice is different? How is it that what other people hear is not what you hear? How is that possible? Anyone know? It's because of the bones in your head. The bones in your head change the sound. They change the way you hear it. So when you speak, your bones in your head act as a resonating chamber, and it makes your voice actually lower than it really is. So usually when you hear your voice on a recording, it's slightly higher than you think it is. Yeah. So, it's interesting. And now they actually make some kind of, well, they're like headphones, but they're headphones that use the resonance of sound through your bones to let you hear. It's a completely different way of approaching sound. It's kind of funny. Right. So your head, if you have a big head, then you probably hear your voice deeper. If you have a small head, then you probably hear your voice higher. Just because a deeper cavity means deeper sound. Smaller cavity means a higher sound. Yeah. Bone conduction, that's what I was looking for. They have new headphones that do sound through bone conduction. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, how about this? What do you call a rainbow on the planet Venus? What do you call a rainbow on the planet Venus? Anyone know? Where'd it go? Where's a good picture? There it is. I'm not a robot. Grr. Why won't you show this picture? Yeah, okay. Anyway, on Venus, a rainbow is not called a rainbow. It is actually called a, where is it? It's called a glory. It's called a glory. And it's called a glory because it works a little bit differently than a rainbow. A rainbow is reflection and refraction and dispersion of light. That's what makes a rainbow. But on Venus, it's caused by the interference of light waves within the droplets. So it's like a circle. It's like a full circle, and it's called a glory. Yeah. You need a ticket to Venus to answer that. That's right. Yeah, it's called a glory. So technically it's not a rainbow on Venus. Right. But if someone saw it, Jimmy, if somebody saw it, they'd say, oh, look, a rainbow. Because it looks very similar to a rainbow, but it acts differently. The principle, the aesthetics are about the same. It looks almost the same, but the principle is different. Oh, let's see. What's the longest amount of time that anyone has ever held their breath underwater? Yeah, Sammy, I was looking for a good picture of a glory, but I couldn't find one. Here's the best one I could find. I'll show you very quickly. Here's the best picture I could find that shows what a glory looks like. Stop this. There you go. Right? But that looks pretty much like a rainbow, right? So what's the longest amount of time that anybody has ever held their breath underwater? How long do you think someone can hold their breath underwater for? How long can you hold your breath underwater? Risa says 10 minutes. Sonia says 11 minutes. Anyone else? Tara says 1 minute. What's the longest, though, Tara? Or Tara. Sometimes we pronounce that Tara, sometimes we say Tara. I like both. It was a recent record, that's correct. The recent record is 24.5 minutes. 24.5 minutes. That's right, it was achieved by a Croatian guy. Budimir Sobat. Yeah, 24 minutes and 37 seconds. But on average, most humans can only hold their breath for between 30 and 90 seconds. Most humans can only hold their breath for about 30 to 90 seconds. But this guy could do it for 24 and a half minutes. That's crazy. Yeah. 24 and a half minutes. Catherine says this record was achieved through static apnea, a free-diving discipline where the individual holds in their breath while floating face down in a pool. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay. How many people... which side of your nose is the most important? Or are they both important? Risa says both. Aya says both. They are both important, but guess what? You have two nostrils. These are called nostrils, the holes in your nose, right? But actually, you only use one at a time. It seems like you're using both. When you take a breath, you feel like you're using both, but actually you're not. You're only using one. And that's why sometimes one side of your nose is stuffed up, but you can still breathe through the other side. And actually your nose will naturally clear itself out through this process. So it alternates. It alternates back and forth. That's right. Nasal cycle. That's exactly right, Catherine. So both sides of your nose are important, of course. It was just a funny way to ask the question. But nasal cycle is where one side of your nose is more dominant than the other for a certain period of time. And if I remember right, when I was reading about it, it had something to do with the cleaning process of the nose. You know? Yeah. So it's interesting. But how many, so many times your nose is clogged and it's only on one side. And you're trying to get both sides open, But it could be maybe you're just in a nasal cycle. Could be. Catherine, wow, you are way, way too smart for this class. Okay, let's see. I only have time for a little bit more. All right, let's see. What color are flamingos? What color are flamingos? What color are flamingos? Pink and white, 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 pink, magenta. Oh, I like that answer. Right. So when we think of them being pink. We think of flamingos being pink, but they're not born pink. They are born with gray or white feathers. But they eat shrimp and this kind of algae, a blue-green algae. And when they eat a lot of this shrimp and blue-green algae, it gives their feathers a pinkish color. So it's kind of funny to think that flamingos wouldn't be pink if they just changed their diet. You know? Kind of funny. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to find another good one. How about this one? What are the chances? What is the percent chance that you share the same date as a birthday of one of your friends? What's the percent chance that you have the same birthday as one of your friends? Mike says 1%. Anyone? What's the percent chance that you have the same birthday as one of your friends? One out of 365? Well, that's an interesting way to look at it, but no. There's actually a 50% chance. A 50% chance. How is that possible? Because in any group of 23 people, if you find a group of 23 people, so if you have 23 friends, then 2 people should have the same birthday in any group of 23 people. That's according to math. So here's how that works. To find the probability of everyone in the group having a unique birthday, you multiply all 23 probabilities together, which gives you 0.493, which is the probability of 50%. Yeah, roughly 50%. Yeah. Yeah, that seems weird. It seems like there must be a statistical anomaly in that can't possibly be true for everyone. But statistics really do bother me sometimes because I'm not a skeptic of statistics, but I feel that there are often factors that are not included that matter when you're talking about statistics like this. Like that can't be true. Like if I find 100 people with 23 friends, 50% of them are going to have the same, two people with the same birthday. I doubt that. Possibility and probability. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Here's a good one. How many people are trying to lose weight? Anyone trying to lose weight right now? Nario says me. Catherine says I'm trying to gain weight. Well, that's a fun problem to have. So, if you're trying to lose weight, then you should try to do something with your brain every day. You should try to think more, because they've proven now that the more you use your brain, the more calories you burn. Your brain will burn between 400 to 500 calories every day just naturally. But if you use it to study or to solve tricky problems, to do interesting things, if you use your brain, you use more calories, you burn more calories. So yeah. If you need to lose weight, then maybe you should learn something. You guys, man, I'll tell you what. You need to stop overthinking then. I overthink then too, but I guess I just eat too much. I overthink this much, but I eat this much. Yeah, I'd like to give you some of my weight too. Anyway. Okay, what time is it? It is 11:43, and I've been here for 1 hour and a half, so it's about time for me to go. So today was new. Today was a different thing. This was just called Mark's Musings. No, I didn't get anybody on stage. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Catherine says it was super fun. I'm glad. I hope that you enjoyed it. How, good to see you. Yes, you're a little bit late, how. I just finished. But it's good to see you. But I need to go because I need to go get some food and go do some grocery shopping and go do some work. But thank you. I appreciate it if you were here. And Flavia is there. And yes, it's Labor Day in Brazil. That's right. It's Labor Day in many places. Hello, Miguel. Hello, Christian. Yes, hello, everybody. I should eat less. I should eat less, but life is too short to be on a diet. You know, it's like we say, never trust a skinny chef. Teacher Steph, hello, Teacher Steph. Yeah, it was random factoids. You know, I thought, let's do one where we just talk about topics that are fun, interesting ideas, interesting topics, interesting facts, and then you can try to write what you think about that, right? I know you want to talk. I understand. I do. But this is good too, I think. All right? I hope. All right, yes, if you want to follow me, thank you, Catherine. Here is my website. You can follow me on my website. You can also follow me on my YouTube channel. I appreciate that very much. And I will be back. I think I'll be back tomorrow if I have time. Okay? Thank you, Belen. Good to see you. Never trust a quiet English teacher. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good analogy, comparison to never trust a skinny chef. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go eat. I will see you guys next time. Okay, thanks. Bye bye.